think when we talk of the industry is transforming quite a lot when it comes to women. What I would love to pose as a challenge is for women who are coming up into the spaces to take up space. You don't have to imitate or act like a man to have a voice in the space.
Welcome back to the Tea with Nikki. We are pro tea, not anti-coffee, and I will say this over and over again as long as we're in lockdown. You're welcome to have a quarantini as well, just as long as you're comfortable. I hope that you're ready to get stuck into this interview with Noluvuyo Mpekelana. She's an incredible woman. She has an IT professional career that spans over 11 years, from the telecommunications sector to financial to higher education and natural resources. Not only that, she is a social entrepreneur who has founded 2 public benefit organizations that have an impact on the lives and the communities in the sectors which they serve. She is also a founding member of the Inside Out Mentors, as well as a co-founder of ICT On Heels, which are 2 programs to help mentor women in the ICT space. In this interview with Noluvuyo, we talk about how the COVID-19 situation has currently impacted her work environment, what she believes the future looks like for the ICT environment, and why she believes it's important to mentor women to be more involved in the ICT and IT professional space. Sit back, relax, and I hope you learned something. I definitely did. Awesome. So,
Got my cup of tea, excuse me.
oh, great. I got one with. We got it together. What tea are you drinking?
Rooibos.
Ah, snap. Me too. It felt like a Rooibos kind of day.
Yes.
So you're an IT manager at one of the largest mining and commodity enterprises. How does that look in 2020, and what does your role entail exactly?
Well, the mining space and technology in general is a space that's very male dominated. So we are making progress, but not fast enough. So how it looks like in this day and age is often I'm still the only female in the room, or sometimes you'll find a few females in the space that I operate in. But in a nutshell, what I do as a head of IT or IT manager in a mining environment is I basically help business become more productive, help business achieve their objectives through technology, whether it's sometimes through improving or automating processes, or whether it's helping the guys underground do their lives better. But it's incorporating technology and improving the way we do business every day.
Okay. And so how did you find yourself falling in love with IT and coding?
Strangely enough, IT was not my first love. I always joke and say this. It sort of came as a plan B into my life, but what's keeping me in love with the discipline and with IT in general is how IT is always so geared at solving problems through technology. And for me, the exciting things, I've moved around from various industries, from banking into insurance space, into finance. And for me, what's always kept things exciting for me within the space is the ability to solve problems, the ability to simplify lives through technology. So that's where my love comes from. It's centered around solving problems through technology.
So was it because of this love of problem solving that you decided to find more than one initiative and organization in teaching kids how to code, and you're also a children's book author, and writing stories of technology for kids? So can you tell us, is that what inspired you because you love problem solving, or how did that come about?
So how that came about initially was a frustration being in the space for long. We would often revert to scarce skills, and sometimes we would struggle to fill certain vacancies, and we couldn't find, or we wouldn't find qualified or suitable candidates. And I looked at this, it looked like we were recycling talent in the sense that the same people were basically moving around the industry. And I basically wanted to change the outlook of that for the future generations. So it was like a preparation for skills of the future kind of mentality that said, if you start this initiative and if you start exposing these kids to these opportunities and into these careers, then maybe in the future we wouldn't have, or we shouldn't have as much scarce skills jobs, or jobs that are classified as scarce skills that we currently have in this day and age. So I started doing some work with the kids, exposing them through coding. And as I started doing some work with the kids, I realized that it was not just about teaching kids how to code. And my vision and mission shifted. It was no longer about trying to create the next generation of computer scientists, but it was around creating problem solvers, because we expose kids to frameworks and methodologies such as computational thinking, design thinking, that allows kids to solve problems. So in reality, whether they end up in the tech space or whether they end up in other fields, if they end up being a lawyer or an accountant, for example, they become a professional that has a good appetite for embracing technology within their given discipline. All for kids being encouraged to study what they love and not to force kids to follow specific careers because we think they're good for them, or there's a certain stereotype that certain careers have more money. So the whole initiative was centered around equipping kids to solve problems of tomorrow through this organization called Code Mana.
And so with also wanting to problem solve and not to continuously rotate the same people, you're also part of 2 mentoring programs of mentoring women for the ICT and IT space. It's Heels in ICT and Inside Out Mentors. Am I correct in saying those? So why?
It's ICT On Heels and Inside Out Mentors.
Yes. And so what are your reasons for being a mentor? Why do you think it's so important for women to be in the ICT space?
So when I started founding or starting mentorship programs, I was still based in Cape Town in 2012. And I started up Inside Out Mentors for the young girls in Khayelitsha. And for me, what inspired or motivated me to start a mentoring program was often those girls didn't have enough role models or women they could look up to. So it was to support the young girls that were upcoming in Khayelitsha to inspire them and to help them achieve a solid academic background. It was just trying to instill to the girls and say to the girls, you can go to school and you will be able to achieve your dreams. It's okay, it's something that's possible. Whereas some of the girls aspire just to get married or to find a boyfriend, and often in those communities, education is not something that is often encouraged in young girls, and that's what motivated me to start Inside Out Mentors. Then when I moved into the ICT space, as I mentioned earlier, that still, even in 2020, I still find myself being the only woman in the table. And for me, that didn't sit well with me.
Yes.
So I then co-founded in 2016 an initiative called ICT On Heels.
Yeah.
And the main idea with ICT On Heels was to support upcoming women in ICT and to offer guidance. Because women come into the tech space, they find it to be a very lonely space, and they break into to other careers, marketing, whatever the case is. It was trying to create a forum of sisterhood amongst the women within the space, and for us to basically help each other as we navigate the journey. And I think when it comes to mentoring, it's important because you as an individual are then able to tap on resources and experiences that your peers have experienced. So it's a shared economy.
I love that. That's beautiful. How many girls do you mentor?
So
personally, not in ICT overall, but you personally, how many are you able to mentor at a time? Because I know you've got a very busy schedule.
So I think over the years, the numbers have gone down due to family commitments, but I currently do have 2 active mentees who I'm very close with, and I've watched their journey, how they started up and how they're doing amazing things. So currently I'm actively mentoring 2.
That's amazing. That's really great. And I'm sure during this COVID-19 time to continue with your mentoring programs and work must have also taken a bit of a strain as well. So how has COVID-19, the lockdown, affected your current working environment?
So how COVID-19 has affected my current work environment? Well, for me, the big shift was not much the working from home shift. I know for a lot of people, the big shift is the fact that they're now working from home. We have been able to work from home previously in the past as professionals in the tech space. And I think for me, while everyone is going on about the technology impact that we're now having meetings via Zoom mainly, for me, what COVID-19 has really made me realize was that we're social beings at the end of the day. We long for connection and belonging, and for me, it's what has hit me hard from the professional perspective, that I now connect with my peers mainly virtually as opposed to face-to-face engagements. But also it's given me time to step back from the madness because I'm no longer driving to work. It's given me time to be at home, be more present with my kids. It's also given me a great opportunity as a leader. Often we very much say this is our values, this is what I believe in, but COVID-19 has given me a great opportunity to sort of practice what I preach, because it's I'm no longer just saying I trust you as a teammate.
Yeah.
It's me emphasizing that trust, because now I've got teams working virtually. So if I'm going to be a leader that has insecurity issues, that doesn't trust the team, COVID-19 will drive you crazy, because you're not going to control people. People are in their different spaces. You just need to trust that they're doing what they need to do. It's simple things as well, such as I care for my team. So COVID-19 has really amplified those values, that it's no longer a thing that we say, oh, I care about you guys, but it's me going out during this time and really connecting and really engaging and living all these values that I say I believe in.
And after COVID-19, because at the moment now there's all the rumors flying around that it's pushed us technologically 5 years ahead of where we were going, especially in the e-commerce space. So kind of post-COVID lockdown, where do you think the ICT sector will be? Do you think it's going to be a lot more integrated and synonymous with our lives? Or do you think people are going to push back a little bit and want to do more face-to-face sort of things? Or where do you see it affecting that sector?
So this is a very interesting question. And the reason why I say it's interesting, every time someone would ask me, what do you think post-COVID-19? I always joke and say to my family and friends, if anyone asks me what life after COVID-19 is going to look like again, I'm going to pull my hair.
I'm so sorry for asking.
So jokes aside, I think there's been a lot of engagements. Like I've been watching on social media, various professionals and people just engaging on life and how things will look like after COVID-19. And for me, what has really risen with me is we are currently creating life post COVID-19 as we speak. So in my space, for example, as a tech professional, I am currently building a tool that's going to help, a digital tool or an app that's going to help around gender-based violence in South Africa. And when I've engaged with some of my peers around the stuff that they're doing or how they see things post COVID-19, everyone is almost so energized and so excited to create this life that we want after COVID-19. So I don't think the question is, or what's important is whether we'll be connecting more virtually or whether we'll be doing more face-to-face engagements. I think COVID-19 has positioned us to be in a space whereby we can really start innovating and solving social issues around us in general. That's the beautiful thing about it. And whether we do it virtually or we do it face-to-face, I think for me, what we will see post this is a whole new wave of innovation coming through.
Yeah, I've been saying as well to friends and family and colleagues, just that I can't wait to see what brain children come out of this, because people are sitting now having time and able to assess the social issues. Like my eyes pricked up when you said that you're doing something with gender-based violence, you're building a program. Can we talk a bit more about that? What is it that you're working on exactly?
So when we think or when we talk of gender-based violence in South Africa, it's always your Twitter wars or your social media kind of movements, but we never take it out practically outside those spaces. We never take those conversations outside those spaces and say, how do we create a safe space for us as women?
Yeah.
So what we are currently working on is a safe space, a space of escape, a platform that deals with mental health of women who are experiencing these things. Not only deal with mental health, but able to provide the basic services that a woman whose life is in danger, whose life is threatened, basically needs at the click of a button.
So is it going to be an app, so to say, almost like, we used to have, there still are rape whistles, but except now it's virtual, it's a button. So it will alert authorities or those sorts.
It's something of that sort. It does incorporate alerting authorities, but it also has a service element to it whereby the various service providers of services that a person who is in danger, who is threatened, come on board, and they offer those services through a virtual platform.
And counseling services as well, because you spoke about mental health. Those are all then available on this app.
Yes.
It's incredible. Was it? Pardon?
I'm saying it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time for new ideas. It's an exciting time for new ways of thinking, new solutions. So that's what COVID-19 in my personal space has given birth to.
Yeah. And I hope that many more apps that address social issues and can help social issues come out of this as well. because that's incredible, and especially in South Africa where we have such an issue with gender-based violence. And I think it's something that can be very useful, and it's accessible as well, which is, I think, really great. So I really want to thank you for doing that and working on that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
And if there's a woman who's wanting to pursue a profession in IT, what would be your foundation steps that you would say in order for her to get to where you are as an IT manager?
I think in terms of the foundation steps, for me, like what's key is, or one piece of advice that I would give to such a woman is commit to yourself. Like it's easy, it's getting the marks, the grade 12 marks to get university entry to do the course that you want to do is the easy part. That's the easy part. You passing university is also the easy part. But what becomes so important is committing to yourself and consistency in terms of sticking to your goals and what you want to achieve. Have a clear vision in place and commit to it, and commit every day to being the best.
That's great. And who's always been a mentor or a role model for you when you were pursuing your career?
I think who's always been a mentor or a role model to me is my father. He's not in the tech space, he's in the construction space, and he wanted me to be an engineer or thought I'd go into a similar field. But he's been very instrumental in my career. He's been very supportive. That's the person I look up to in his personal journey in terms of how he navigated being previously disadvantaged, and not letting circumstances stand in between his way of achieving his goals and dreams and going for what he believes for.
Strong family, because you sound very similar, so I can hear that you've taken after him. He's been a role model for you.
Thanks.
And I'll backpedal a little bit where you said being in the ICT space and IT space is very male dominated, very male centric. How do you think, or what can be done by the IT space to be more inclusive of women and just in social spaces as well?
I think when we talk of the industry is transforming quite a lot when it comes to women. What I would love to pose as a challenge is for women who are coming up into the spaces to take up space. You don't have to imitate or act like a man to have a voice in the space. And if you look, even in society in general, women make up, I think, 70% of consumer decisions. So, for example, even if I'm not going to be buying a product specifically at the shop, but even if I don't have money to buy it, but I have an influence as a woman to influence those with buying power around me, whether it's my father, whether it's my partner, I have some, or whether it's a brother, I have some level of influence in terms of consumer decisions at home. What gets purchased at home in terms of food, clothing, those decisions are mainly driven by women. Even big assets, houses, cars, those are things we drive in terms of decisions. And what I always say, if we're driving such consumer decisions in the household, why are we stepping back when businesses are designing these solutions? Why are we stepping back when products are being created? So I think there's a valuable space in all businesses for women to come in, give their input. We think differently, and those are the things that we need to embrace in general, and not try to think like a man, to act like a man, and do all these things that society society tells us to do. I think for me, the important thing is for us to get comfortable in our spaces, to get comfortable with who we are.
So you're saying to take up space and be comfortable with who we are and not model ourselves after men. So then I want to pose a question. What does feminine leadership mean to you, or what does it look like to you?
I think feminine leadership to me, it's inclusion. It's leadership that's inclusive. It's leadership that understands me as a woman. For example, I'm a mother. It's leadership that offers flexibility in the workplace. If I'm managing a team of women, it's leadership that's sensitive to issues around women. It's not just leadership that puts everyone in one box. It's leadership that allows us to be flexible and that allows us to embrace the various things we bring in the table as different genders.
I love that. And now it brings me to the one segment I like to call the ABCs of your career. So A for affluent moment. What was your affluent moment in your career that sort of sparked your career path?
I think my affluent moment in my career that sort of sparked my career path, it was not in an office setting or in the workplace per se. It was more at university. So one of the things that I realized, or one of my big aha moments, was that learning doesn't happen in the classroom. Learning happens outside the classroom. Therefore, when we go out into the industry, into the workplace, we have such a great opportunity to implement or to practice what we've learned in the classroom. And for me, that was my big aha moment. It's a moment that allows me to see every day as a learning opportunity, every person I engage with, the differences, as an opportunity to learn something that we're constantly learning in general, and you never stop learning.
And what was a bad business blunder in your career?
I think a bad business blunder in my career was doing business with people who don't have aligned value systems as me. And I'm not saying that we should be stuck up and only want to engage with people that are like us. But I think when it comes to value system, when that is aligned, when your value system is aligned with the company that you work for example, with the people you work with, it becomes easy to achieve your objectives. If you work with someone whose belief system is very different from yours, it can be quite challenging. It can even prevent you from achieving your goals and your objectives. So that's one of the business lessons that I have learned, is that it's not only about the technical skills. For me, it's about what you stand for as a person, what you believe in. That's what will make us work well together.
Yeah. And C, what was your cinematic worthy cock up in your career? Like just a funny mistake? Because we all make mistakes and we're all human, and it's good to laugh about those.
It's a silly one. So it was challenging my previous boss for a run. So I'm a runner. It was challenging, yes. And he was way about 50 at the time. and challenging him for a run in Cape Town when I was still based in Cape Town after a long, hectic night. So I really embarrassed myself there.
Did you win or did you lose?
It didn't go well.
And I bet you he probably didn't let you live it down either. It's like, yeah, you wanted to run.
Yes, no, yeah. You see?
Lift it up a bit? Or is it a flag?
Mm-hmm.
A painting?
A square.
Yeah, I see a square. I just can't see what's inside. I don't know if I'm being...
What's inside? It's just random scribbling.
Oh, squares. So, can I have a clue?
Starts with a P.
Um,
And represent comfort.
I'm drawing a complete blank.
Soft.
A pillow. Is it a pillow? Oh, okay. Hello. How was
Yes.
it? Okay. Hello. Okay. I have a word. I'm gonna try and see if I can draw it on screen, and you can see me drawing it. So, I don't know if you can see. Oops.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see that? Oh, that's terrible.
What's a chair?
Yes, it's a chair. Got it. Awesome. Let's do one more round each, I think.
Cool.
Hopefully I'll be better this time.
Ooh, this is an interesting one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it an exhaust? Car fumes. Car exhaust.
It's an insect.
Oh, can you bring it a bit closer? Can't see it. Is it a caterpillar?
Yes.
Yay! Okay, I've got one as well. This one will be interesting. Okay. Just trying to think. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. This is not meant to be, yeah.
Oh, cool. Camera.
Yes. You're so good at this. And so now I finish off the interviews with just 3 quick fire questions. You can't prep for them, so it's just what comes to the top of your mind.
Cool.
3 books that you would recommend for our listeners to read.
3 books with the authors.
You can name 3 authors, yeah, or you can say 3 books that maybe impacted you, or...
Okay. So one is Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg, and second one is A Seat at the Table. Forgot the author. It's a very lovely book if we are in the tech space. Third one is Betting on a Ducky by Telecommunications.
Oh, cool. What is a daily routine that you can't live without?
Meditating.
Do you meditate once or twice a day?
Twice.
Morning and evening?
Yes.
Okay, for how long?
20 minutes.
That's amazing. My form of meditation is reading. I can't just sit still and breathe for more than 5 minutes.
Wow.
To learn it. I need to learn how to do it. Favorite genre of music?
That's jazz.
Oh, jazz!
Yes.
After my own heart, I love some good jazz.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nolu, for taking the time to talk to me. That brings our interview to an end. It was so lovely. I loved hearing exactly everything you had to say. Very interesting, and I can't wait to see the app when it comes out.
I'll let you know. I'll keep you
in touch. Definitely. We'll stay in touch. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I hope that you found that interview as insightful as I did. I'm so excited to see the valuable application that Noluvuyo is busy working on and how much of an impact that's going to bring to South Africa as we do really suffer with gender-based violence. And to make something so accessible for women in impoverished areas is going to be life-changing. What I'd also like for us to take away from today is that as women, we shouldn't feel that we need to change our femininity to suit the masculine narrative, to hold our space, and then to pursue what it is that we are passionate about, become problem solvers in our everyday lives, because learning can go beyond just a classroom.